'cause you know it's only gonna get better. Yeah, the seasons know when to change. Better weather don't last forever. Oh, you know things never stay the same. Never stay the same. It's gonna get better. Never stay the same.
So a lot of you have watched the video of what do I do if my partner wants to have another baby and I don't. And clearly that struck a nerve with a lot of you, which means a lot of you are having conversations about whether you should have another baby or not. Well, that's what I want to talk about right now. It's a huge decision, right? A lot of you out there have 1, 2, maybe even 3 kids. And I remember having that same quandary with my own spouse. Are we prepared for expanding our family again? And sometimes that can be an even bigger decision and an even more difficult decision than trying to decide whether to conceive in the first place. This has to do with a lot of dynamics, of course, time off work. Money is a huge barrier for a lot of families to be able to expand. Maybe your car or your house will need an upgrade or an expansion as well to be able to accommodate everyone. And then the big one, sibling gap. Many out there have an idea in their head of how many overall kids they want and how they should be spaced out. And sometimes when that spacing doesn't exactly follow what we were hoping for, suddenly we feel a little bit paralyzed as to what our whole plan for our long-term family might look like. The first question I want you to ask yourself in the decision to expand your family is, what family do I envision 20 years from now? There's a saying that you shouldn't make an eternal decision based on temporary circumstances. And I think that's really vital when it comes to discussions like this, because of course there are huge reasons not to have a baby, but that isn't necessarily the same reasons not to expand your family. Yes, none of us like changing diapers. None of us like getting up in the middle of the night and losing sleep. Maybe we're not even looking forward to all the bickering between the siblings. And even the new dynamics that may create, the rifts or shifts in our family dynamic as it exists currently. But who do you see sitting around your Thanksgiving table in 20 years? Who do you see calling you when you're an empty nester, right? And these are the longer term decisions that the ideas and discussions and input that people give you right now aren't necessarily for now, but maybe they're for later. So you have to really decide based on the values we have now as a family, what's going to be most important as we make this decision years and years down the road from now. So as you're talking about those challenges, I think it's also important for the next question to be, what are my fears or hopes based on expanding our family? A lot of times we have fears of the now, right? I would have less self-care time. I just got back into a rhythm of work or working out or getting together with friends, or I finally got down the routine of making lunches and getting my kids to school on time. These are very practical but realistic things. And so you and your partner may decide like now is not the optimal time because we finally hit a comfort zone. And why would we want to disrupt that? On the other hand, you may have long-term fears or hopes, such as I want to be able to afford to send my kids to private school or private college or any college of their dreams. I want my daughter to have the best wedding and biggest house possible, and I want to be able to contribute to that. And so if I have 1, 2, 3 more kids, I may not be able to fulfill those dreams. I would just ask yourself, how big of a priority are those things? And if you currently have a child or children, would you exchange one of them for any of those dreams? And this isn't to say you regret having your kids, but all that to say, I believe that a theoretical or hypothetical child is much easier to exchange for something that you hope for than in reality. And oftentimes what we see is when parents expand their family and bring that new baby home, of course there was no doubt that that was the child meant to be with and in their family. The bottom line question to ask yourself when you're expanding your family is, do I want another child? And if you and your partner are having challenges, difficulties communicating about the underlying hopes, fears, concerns, beyond the decision of just the practical disruption of having a baby, I invite you to get an objective third party and a counselor, a therapist, even a close friend who maybe has a larger or smaller family than you do, and begin to almost investigate what are the pros and the cons, what are the pros and cons other people have experienced. Do I feel and believe the same way as they do? Or am I open to changing my mind, opening myself up to the experience and the growth that this opportunity might offer me? I wish you the best of luck in your decision.